Good evening. A 69-year-old male from St. Elizabeth has become Jamaica's latest COVID-19 fatality, taking the country's death toll now to 307. 43 new cases of the virus were also recorded, taking the total of cases on the island to 13,411. Now, of the 43 newly reported cases, there were 20 males and 23 females ranging in age from 9 to 90 years. 11 of the cases were recorded in Manchester. 6 were recorded each in St. Catherine, St. Anne, and Kingston and St. Andrew, while 5 cases were recorded in St. Mary. 2 cases were recorded in Trelawney, while Hanover, St. James, St. Elizabeth, and St. Thomas each recorded 1 case. The country also recorded 70 new recoveries, taking the total of recovered persons now to 11,323. Still making the news tonight, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, as well as Western Kingston's Member of Parliament, Desmond McKenzie, handed over tablets to needy students in his constituency. Now, the tablets were donated by Imaging and Intervention Associates earlier today at the Minister's Suite at the Office of the Ministry, Hagley Park Road, Kingston 10. Mr. McKenzie pointed out that although the online learning platforms have worked, many students have not benefited substantially.
Urge the Ministry of Education to consider the requests that I have made, and I met with the principals and board chairmen of the 4 high schools in the constituency yesterday to discuss resuming face-to-face activities in school. An area like West Kingston is one that personal interaction with our students is very, very important. And while the online program has worked, if the truth be told, not many of the students have benefited substantially from the online learning process. A school population where 75 to 80% of the students are in walking distance of the schools that they attend. And it is important that we try our best to ensure that even on a limited basis, we get the face-to-face activities back in the classroom.
Mr. McKenzie also pointed out that 200 tablets have been distributed in his constituency so far in partnerships such as the one with Imaging and Intervention Associates.
So far, we have been able to distribute over some 200 tablets. We have gotten tablets through the Ministry of Education. We have gotten assistance from various individuals who believes that education is a key to the success of these youngsters. Exceedingly happy that you have found it in your heart to remember the young people in West Kingston. And I think the presentation of these tablets will go a far way in improving education. And we have students here from high school and from primary schools this morning who are going to be receiving these tablets. And I want to say to them that don't just get these tablets and use it as a bit of machine that you're going to play games on and, YouTube, and use it to ensure that you make up for lost times the time that you would have lost since March of last year. But on behalf of a grateful constituency, and a constituency that prides itself in ensuring that education is the pillar on which we build the future.
Imaging and Intervention Associates funding partner Dr. Dwayne Chambers says given the difficult times set in motion by the pandemic, helping students was the best step the company could take at this time.
While we contribute to the lives of people through the provision of healthcare, we thought that providing a means to help our children in this admittedly difficult time was the best step that we could make. And so we're very happy to help in a small way with the educational needs of our children in the West Kingston community. Well, it's certainly, as long as we're able to help, we will, and we will look for other ways in which we can continue to help while the country and the world, in fact, continues to experience the difficulties that we're experiencing now.
In other news tonight, a stop order to cease and desist was issued to a developer today in Greenwood at the border of Trelawney and St. James. Now, this arises after residents and their councillor staged a demonstration outside the St. James Municipal Corporation's building in Montego Bay on Wednesday, seeking help to rectify flooding due to the work being done by the developer in the community. Now, representatives from the St. James Parish Council and National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA visited the site earlier today and spoke with a man who claimed that he is the foreman at the site. They were seen explaining the breaches and what he needs to do to resolve the issue. Councillor for the Rose Hall Division, Anthony Murray, in speaking with our news team, explained what the stop order entails.
This morning we are here with a team from the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA and the St. James Municipal Corporation, in which we are here to serve a stop order to the development of this site as it relates to the breaches that has occurred and the concern that the residents have, the Greenwood residents have in the area. So this morning the team from the Parish Council, accompanied by the team from NEPA, has served stop order to the developer to cease and desist all activities on this property until the relevant permits are granted and the proper processes are followed. And so I think this will help to appeal the concern of the residents. I know the Parish Council along with the different teams will work with the developer and the community to see what meaningful solutions can be arrived at so that everybody can be appealed and can be pleased with what is happening in the area. But this morning, our main mission here this morning from the Parish Council and NEPA is to serve notice to cease and desist all activities on the site until the due process and the proper permits are granted.
Councillor Murray is warning other developers in the community to ensure they get the proper permits. If not, similar stop orders will be issued to them as well.
I want to also use this opportunity to serve notice to the other persons in the area developing without the proper permits and approval from the Parish Council that they too will be coming at the same scrutiny from the Parish Council as we are ensuring that the rules and regulations as well as the development in this area is carried out. This area is a swampy area, and so approval is needed from NEPA as well as the Parish Council for any form of development to take place in this area. So persons who have plans to develop in this area, I want to appeal to them from now to make sure that they go through the proper processes to ensure that they get the proper approval before they start any form of development in this area. Or else they too will be served with cease and desist order in this area.
Some residents expressed that they are pleased with the action of the St. James Municipal Corporation and NEPA.
Well, we are quite pleased with the action and the results. It's drastically affecting the community. It's flooding out other areas. So I really appreciate the action of NEPA and the municipality. Good sense should prevail and have the remedy put in place.
I am very happy that the authorities acted swiftly. It is sad that we had to demonstrate in order to have our voice being heard. But I am very happy with the outcome. We look forward to working with the developer. We welcome his development and we are happy that justice has been served today.
In news from the capital, a curfew has been imposed in sections of Trench Town in Kingston West. The curfew began at 6 p.m. yesterday, January 7, and will remain in effect until 6 p.m. tomorrow, January 9. The boundaries of the curfew are as follows. North along 5th Street, from the intersection with Tobias Avenue at the western boundary to the intersection with Collie Smith Drive. East along Collie Smith Drive, from the intersection with 5th Street to the intersection with Spanish Town Road. South along Spanish Town Road, from the intersection with Collie Smith Drive to the entrance to the Horizon Remand Center. West along an imaginary line, from the entrance to the Horizon Remand Center at Spanish Town Road to the intersection with Tobias and 5th Street. During the hours of the curfew, all persons within the boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. Now, in a news update this evening, reputed Gideon warriors alleged gangster Kevin Richie Poo Tyndale is reportedly still hospitalized in critical condition after he was shot on Old Hope Road in St. Andrew on Wednesday. A man who was fatally shot during the attack has been identified as 53-year-old Carl Davidson of Parkway Drive, Kingston 11. Now, sources say several persons were traveling in a taxi at approximately 3 p.m. when they stopped at a shop on Old Hope Road in the vicinity of the Swallowfield community. They were pounced upon by two men on a motorbike who were reportedly following the taxi. The pillion rider reportedly got off the bike and opened fire, hitting the occupants of the taxi. Still making Mello TV news tonight, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government will be investing in the hardware of Jamaicans as part of the fight against crime and violence in the society. He noted that approximately $40 billion has been spent to strengthen the country's security architecture over the last 4 years. He highlighted that the next phase of the plan to secure Jamaica will involve developing the hardware. Now, Mr. Holness was addressing the annual Heal the Family, Heal the Nation National Day of Prayer at the Power of Faith Ministries in Portmore, St. Catherine. The Prime Minister called on Jamaicans as they pray for the healing of the nation to pray for peace in the hearts of men.
We have a violence epidemic. You are the people that have a significant role to play by virtue of your membership in the institution of God. And I call upon you today as you pray for the healing of the nation, to pray for peace in the hearts of men.
The Prime Minister, while calling on the support of the Church as part of the process, says there is some hypocrisy associated with the ending of states of emergencies.
The next phase of tackling the crime problem has to be the hardware phase. The hardware is taking effect. You are seeing that in greater surveillance, greater intelligence. The software, again, that is taking effect in how the force operates, the focus on investigation. You know, some of the software strategies have been taken away. We no longer have the SOEs, and it will be interesting to analyze what has been the effect of removing the capacity of the SOEs, because there's a great deal of hypocrisy. The same people who say do away with the SOEs, they are the same ones who are on the phone calling the commissioner to say, bring the police back into my area. The same ones. And I'm certain that if we had the SOEs in place, we would have ended the year much better. We still ended the year lower in terms of murders, so effectively we are flattening that murder curve.
Continuing with the news tonight, homeowners are being advised to get a licensed and a certified electrician to check their electrical wiring every 5 years in order to prevent fires. Acting Assistant Commissioner and Officer in charge of the Fire Prevention Division of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, JFB, Emilio Ebanks, said that household or structural fires are normally caused by electricity, whether it is coming from persons siphoning off the grid or situations where persons are not connected properly. Mr. Ebanks said that it might be a situation where there is exposure to the elements, and as such, over time, the insulation is going to break down. He added that if your house was wired, inspected, and passed over 5 years ago, get a certified and licensed electrician to come in and do some general checks. Mr. Ebanks further pointed out that if persons see ants coming out of sockets, it is an indication that something is going on in there. Still tonight, Caribbean Cement Company reached a new historic record in 2020 by manufacturing more than 940,000 metric tons of cement in response to market demand. Iago Castro, General Manager of Caribbean Cement Limited, said, and I quote, "The market responded opposite to what might have been expected given the pandemic. Instead of slowing down, construction grew, and we kept in step with our customers by meeting their demand consistently. We will continue to ramp up production as the market grows." End quote. Now, Mr. Castro attributes this performance to capital investment, government policies, management of the pandemic, and the expertise of the employees. And those are the stories making news. I am Shelley-Ann Hill. We will now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with sports.